Hello, YouTubers. Reloading Bench back with you once again for tonight's second of many videos, which I have no idea when this will get published, so that actually means nothing. Other than it's just the second one I'm doing because of whatever. So, for some of you who may recall, I love the SoCal SW, and I don't think the text will show up. SoCal, maybe SoCalSW.com, the Bully Mag P. Love these things. So I run my presses with these. Never had an issue with these in either caliber that I run, 45 ACP and 9mm. So the Dillon has the 9mm and the Hornady has the 45 ACP. But as you recall, maybe or maybe not, I switched over to the Lee inline bullet feeder from the Hornady. I gave up on the Hornady bullet feeder. I was on my second one for the 9mm, and it was a jam-o-matic. And when the bullet jams in the bullet feeder, because this is just a straight tube, there's nothing to jam. When the bullet is stuck in the feeder, and Murphy's Law, there's 15 plus bullets. As soon as you try to pull this off, I don't care how careful you are, hard to maneuver when you have a bullet halfway in, you get a mess of bullets. Do that 10, 15 times a session and you get pissed off. So I took this off and I was running my Hornady bullet feeder die by hand, meaning I'd stack it full of 8 or 9 bullets and then I'd jam it with my finger when a bullet got stuck. Then I discovered the Lee inline bullet feeder, and that's been a godsend. Trouble-free, absolutely trouble-free, 0 issues, except it won't work with a Mag P because of the dimensions being different. This is machined for the Hornady dimensions, and the Lee is much smaller, so this won't work. So I reached out to SoCal SW and talked to him about it, and he has done some work for me way in the past before the Mag P. In fact, one of his caps for the Hornady powder charge is a result of my custom request from him years ago. In any case, I reached out, I said, hey, are you aware of the inline bullet feeding solution from Lee? It's great, and I'd love to be able to buy because he sells these adapters all by themselves for $16.95, which is a phenomenal deal considering this was $6 from Home Depot. $15.95 for this aluminum machined piece, but he only sells them for Hornady and what's the other one? Since I don't care, it doesn't matter. Hornady and one more solution, not the Lee. So when I talked to him about the Lee, he said, oh, I'll have to pick up the Lee inline bullet feeding tube and figure out what I can do. Well, that was like 6 months ago. And what's funny is when I reached out to him about it and gave him all the input and pointed him to this, my videos, that's when he responded back saying, got one on order and I'll figure out how to either make a whole solution or just the bottoms. And maybe 2 months went by and I reached out to him and I said, any update? And yeah, busy, blah, 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 back order, blah, 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 a whole bunch of, so, again, that was probably 4 months ago. So we're talking 6 months time elapsed. I just checked his website. There's nothing there. So I'm not going to keep bothering him. He's busy. He's going to do his thing and it'll eventually get there, hopefully. But in the meantime, now that I'm a machinist wannabe, guess what I'm going to try and do? Oh, yeah. So I had an idea because brass is not super cheap. It's not super expensive either. But I thought, well, maybe there's a way to save time and effort. That's where this comes in. Go over to my local big box shop. And for whatever reason, I thought this was 1/2 inch as opposed to 1 inch. So obviously this won't fit. But my thought was, thinking this was 1/2 inch, that I would part off, that would fit, or I would trim this down to fit. Obviously it fits too loosely. I would trim this down so I'd have a snug / pressure fit, with the inside being, you know, hopefully big enough. We'll find out right now. Hopefully big enough for, yep, a 9mm bullet to drop. So again, the idea was save myself some machining effort by just cutting this off, trimming it, pressing it in there, and then being able to lock it into my Lee bullet feeding die. Well, I get home and realize that obviously I didn't measure twice. It's a good thing I didn't do any cutting. So that goes back to the store, and there isn't a big enough, if memory serves, 1 inch that isn't already cut for threads. So I've ordered a 1 inch by 4 inch brass round from the rainforest, and the intent is to machine essentially an insert into this that will accommodate the Lee bullet feeding die. So if I machine this correctly, essentially building that with no threads, inserting it in here, and then putting it on my Lee die, I'm hoping that that gives me my solution, my interim solution, so that I can go back to using this wonderful device from SoCal SW, while SoCal SW finally gets on it and does something about the Lee inline bullet feeder die. So we'll call this part 1, because the brass rod is scheduled to arrive in the next few days from my buddies at the rainforest, whom I've been madly purchasing and returning from. And then we'll give it a shot and see what happens. If I F it up, oh well, because that brass rod, 1 inch by 4 inch round, is I think $16, and this was 5 and change, so we'll call this $6, and that's nothingness. So we'll see what happens, and more to come. Okay, folks, since this is laying on the bench, you probably know what that is. And this is this weekend's project. All right. That is a brass rod, 1 inch by 4 inch. So we're going to see if that 1 inch fits in there or needs to be turned down a little bit. Ideally it will fit, but who knows? Oh, some good looking brass. I hope this is too big. Oh yeah, sweet. Sweet. So, we will need to make, we'll do some measurements here. We need to make an insert about 1/3 of an inch long. Let's get our measuring tools out. Let's find out what we really need to make. And for those of you who know and have seen this before, I always take the battery out. Then it lasts forever. Forever. All right. We need a this needs to be 22.52 millimeters. And I'm doing this in front of me so I can see. Actually, how about I do this? Okay, 22 point, let's call it 22.60. I'm pushing these as long as I can. And then this is, we get a lot to turn down. We get to turn down 2.5 millimeters. All right, let's see what we got inch-wise. And my thoughts. Okay, so this is not quite an inch, 0.987. which is kind of funny because it's sold as an inch. It's probably like lumber. And this is 0.88, so 1/10 of an inch bigger. So that's cool. We will turn this down. So my approach, plan of attack, and how deep do we need to make this thing? 0.56 inches or 14.15 millimeters. So I will write all that down so I don't have to start turning this and then guessing. So obviously the first thing we would do is face that so that it's nice, and then I would probably turn it down so that it fits, and then check that it fits, and then bore it out so that the lead eye, which I don't have a measurement for right this minute in front of me, would then slip over this. So we'll see how that goes. And this was, I think, 15 bucks, and that little piece of brass that I picked up from the Orange Box Big Box shop was 5 and change. That is going to go back to the big box shop because can't use it. But this is the next project, and I don't know how much. I'm not a big fan of videoing live on my mistakes with machining, so we'll see how that goes. But I'll probably do some befores and afters, not so much durings, because I don't need the camera right in front of me as I'm trying to do something that I don't have a clue on. So that's that. Much more to come. All right, so there it is, faced. That's nice and clean as compared to what it was. And now we'll pull this out a little bit and work on that diameter some. Turn that down. All right, there we are. Hopefully turned down to the correct diameter. We'll take that out for the first time. This was a godsend in making micro adjustments up and down for turning this. Again, learning and doing. So we'll take that out now for the first time, and we'll see if it fits. Again, off tripod. Is it beautiful? Look at that. Is it perfect? Maybe a slight bit too small, but again, learning and doing first time. So we'll call that a success. Good stuff. Look at that. No shortage of lots of brass shavings, dust and rings. So now we're going to part that off and see where we're at. All right, live action shot, only one, trying to part this off. Alrighty. Stock. Finished product. Is she pretty? To me, she's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. To you, maybe not so much. So, flushy, flushy. That's a good sign. Now, we will put it on the Dillon and see if that works. All right, so here's the lead eye. Look at that. Oh, that's good. Ooh, that's goody good. I might have a little rim in there that I have to take off. But this thing pops up too. So now we're going to see if this will fit on. Oh, there we go. I don't know why I didn't want to do that. Hang on one second. One moment, please. All the way in. Oh, I think I have a little bit of an edge on here. Okay, that fits that way. And does this fit that way? No. Let me Let me clean that little edge, that little chamfer up. Back in a minute. Okay, edge is cleaned up. This will go on hopefully either way now. I spoke too soon. And this will set. There's my insert. All right. There we go. Is it pretty? We're back to not really. Is it functional? We'll see. We'll see. In fact, let me load up some bullets and give it a try. But because the handle's on that side and there's no room right here, I'll do it off camera. I lied. I'm not going to do it live, or I'm not going to do it off camera. I'm going to try and do it live. And I don't have the press locked in, so it might be a little wiggly. So I think there's 4 or 5 bullets in the feeder tube in the bullet feeding die, and then I've got like 5 or 6 up here. Okay, so I'm seeing already a potential All right, so you're seeing this. So the lead lifts up a little bit. So I was wondering if it makes sense to, because it didn't, again, we're talking a very close fit, but not a press fit. So there's not a lot of wiggle room, but there is some room. So I was debating. There's not enough meat here to drill. Actually, I could potentially lock this in, drill into here, and put a little tiny grub screw to lock that in, because this is essentially useless to me now. And if I lock that in, I don't know if that will help any, because there's just not a whole lot of meat here, just because of the design. Because this does, as part of the design, it does, I don't know if you can see that. Let me try with this hand. You can see this jumps up and down. So when it goes up, and you've got probably 2 or 3 millimeters there, 2 millimeters maybe. That's what pushed, looks like it pushed this up. But it did work. So we have, you know, moderate success. Trying to keep it from falling. It's always had an angle just because of the weight distribution. Whoops, and there's my brass on the floor. But from my machining success, you know, start to finish, I'm going to call that a success. For me. For me. Good stuff. Later. Good day, YouTubers. Well, you knew I couldn't leave it alone. So I have decided to drill and tap this. In fact, I'm going to do it right through the flag. I'm going to pop that in there, drill a 9/16 hole so I can tap a quarter. And here's where the debate comes in. So I have this wonderful Harbor Freight in a pinch set of coarse set screws. So this is 3/8. So when I look at the, I hope I don't drop anything. So when I look at that 3/8 gives me plenty to bite into both the Lee bullet feeding die collar, and then hopefully lock this in. So my debate was, I had everything. I have my tap. I have my 1/4 inch tap by 20 thread. And I thought, ooh, 20 thread. Those are big threads. Wouldn't it make more sense to have thinner threads to bite into more material? So I went out to the store, and lo and behold, they had stainless versions. I thought, well, stainless obviously will look better than the black phosphate, you know, because it'll match the aluminum. And then I thought, because I don't want to go back twice, there was the 1/4 by 20 by 3/8. And I thought, you know what? Let me pick up the 28 pitch thread because I have that tap. So we are going to do more threads per inch. So we're going to go with 28 pitch initially. Put the 20s away. Actually, I'll put them back in here where they belong. And hopefully this will turn out better than my my crooked tapping. I mean, there's not a lot to tap here. A couple of threads. So we will be drilling, we will be tapping, and when we come back, I'll show hopefully the finished product and then mount it on the Hornady, and we'll see where we're at. I think I just said mount it on the Hornady. Dillon, blue. All right, we are drilled, tapped, and finished. Now we will see how it locks in on the Lee. We'll do that real time. Impossible for me, well, maybe possible, but with the camera right here, I can either tighten or loosen this. I was thinking I was going to have to come in and back here, but I can tighten or loosen depending on where the threads are right here, or rotate it so that I'm facing the press. But as you can see, or maybe not, maybe let me lower this a little bit. And let me straighten the camera out a little bit. So this no longer has a wobble, and it's locked. Notice I'm lifting the Lee collar. So that's locked in there. Locky. All right, I'm going to flip it around and we'll do a round of the brass we did with some bullets. Back in a minute. I will say that this came in very handy to clean out the aluminum before I put the brass in, and then drilled the brass as well as afterwards to clean the little burrs out. All right, because I have this locked in right at the moment, again, I could use this front facing, take it out, preload this particular bullet feeder with, I think it takes like 4 or 5. But what I will do instead is just load from the top for now, because everything is installed. That's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I grabbed 10, 9. All right, we got 10 bullets. 10 bullets in that beautiful tube. And we are going to hopefully reuse this 9mm case from the other day. Naturally, I'm in front of everything. Okay, time to move the press back a little because it's naturally hitting this. And with the camera in the way, I'll move everything back. All right, okay, now we have full swing. All right, we'll resize. We will powder. We cannot powder check. All right, here's all the marbles. Oh, look at that. Ah, and it didn't, oh. So maybe if I, okay, maybe if I activated, there we go. Activate. All right, we got some hopium going on. Oh, I see a drop. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there should be nothing left in there. Excellent. All right, we are a go. This, and that is solid. Yeah. All right. I no longer have to pray and hope for SoCal SW to do his thing. And when he does his thing, maybe I'll buy this adapter, or then again, maybe not, because I like homegrown. And this is a cool homegrown solution. So that wraps this particular project.